Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Jack Ford. These are trying times for our country. Taking a look at our nation from kindergarten classrooms to the lawns of our high schools and our colleges, there's not just a gun problem in these United States, there's a hate problem as well. Specifically, hate against Jews. The number of anti-Semitic incidents have skyrocketed across the country. The facts and the statistics are frightening. In its annual audit, the Anti-Defamation League uncovered 1,986 incidents of harassment, vandalism, and physical assaults against Jews nationwide. That's an increase of 1,267 cases reported from last year. For us here in New York, there's a 90% increase since 2016. Let that sink in, 90%. And just across the river, New Jersey saw a 32% increase since 2016. Nationally, the numbers have doubled. The question then is why? Well, here to provide insight and answers is Evan Bernstein, the New York Regional Director of the Anti-Defamation League. Evan, welcome. Thanks for joining us here, too. Let me ask you about some specifics here, because I think there's some that jumped out at me.
Sure. Starting
off with from kindergarten through 12th grade, in that category, we saw the numbers double.
Yeah.
Double. Why do you think that is, and were you surprised at that dramatic increase?
I was shocked by that. We knew the numbers were going to be up. You know, we're on the ground every day. We're getting the calls into our office, and we're constantly tracking. When we put everything together in a compilation and seeing those numbers, K through 12, that was shocking to me. And I think it's speaking to kind of the discourse now that's in America is really now trickling down into school-age children, and that is very, very concerning to us at the ADL.
And we know that, you know, as parents, you know that your children are formed at that very age. There's some folks who will say, look, after a certain number of years, that their views and their approaches and how they deal with people has hardened. So if you're seeing K through 12 with that sort of dramatic increase, what kind of fear does that provide for you?
It's a lot of fear. I have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, and you know these kids are learning this somewhere. Hate is a learned behavior. We know that. So they're either getting online, and we've seen such a tremendous amount of hate that's online, on Facebook, on Twitter. Parents can't monitor, especially teenagers, all the time, and they're getting this information unfiltered, which is very scary. And I think even younger children are getting it from their parents, and they're regurgitating it in their schools.
I thoroughly enjoy being on college campuses. But we saw that there's been a rise of 130% on college campuses.
Yes.
Again, how and why?
I think we've seen, again, this overall general opening up of hate in our society, really, since the election season. And it's been maintaining itself, and you're seeing this language is being used online, and it's starting to filter into our normal conversations and how we're interacting with people. And I think people's filters that were once very much established are becoming lessened, and you're seeing that in all parts of society, but specifically now you're seeing this on college campuses, where I think people are interacting with each other. Professors are getting notes that are anti-Semitic. Conversations among students are becoming difficult, and also we're seeing a very large rise of white supremacist movements on college campuses. Over 40 states have had hundreds of schools flyered with white supremacists, and sometimes they're anti-Semitic in nature, and other times they're just general hate, whether it's Identity Europa, the Klan. And that sets up an environment for people to have, conversations that maybe they didn't feel comfortable having before, and now they do.
Is it a situation, this is probably hard to determine, but is it a situation where we're seeing more people who are investing in these hate-filled beliefs, or is it just that they've been there all along, and now they're more comfortable expressing them?
It's a great question. I think we don't feel at the ADL that there's more people that are anti-Semitic in America. We've been doing polling since the 60s. On anti-Semitic attitudes. We feel that it's holding between 10 and 12% of the American population has anti-Semitic tendencies. We don't feel that number has grown. We do feel, however, that group is more emboldened and more active than in a very long time. And we're clearly seeing that with the numbers. We're seeing that with what we're seeing online and the reports that we're getting. We're getting that from reports from other minority leaders, not only in New York State, but across the country. This is not just a Jewish problem. This is a problem for all minorities in this country. And I think that is something that we're seeing across the board.
Another fact that surprised me, I want to ask about your thoughts on it, and that was the increase here in Manhattan.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other boroughs.
Yeah.
Why was that surprising?
When I started at the ADL almost 5 years ago, the typical hate crime that was taking place towards a Jew or an incident was, and you had them all over the state. You would have a random thing at a school upstate or in Nassau or Westchester, but the majority of them were really in Brooklyn or Queens because you have such a large group of Hasidic, openly Orthodox Jews that are easy targets. They have people wearing shadels, they're wearing kippahs, they're more open and accessible to people that hate Jews. For Manhattan, which is, has its fair share of Orthodox Jews, but it's not anywhere near the same climate as a Brooklyn or Queens, to have the most number of anti-Semitic incidents in the state of New York is really shocking. And I think a lot of people that live in the Upper West, Upper East Side, that have been leading lives that really felt, and especially in conversations I've had, they felt that anti-Semitism was dead. It was something that was gone after the Civil Rights Movement. They are now starting to experience it in their communities and communities that have not really experienced it in decades. And then when you had Sutton Place Synagogue in Midtown get swastikaed, I think that was just a tremendously eye-opening experience for a lot of people in Manhattan, and now the numbers also back that up.
Well, it's that notion of maybe it happens out there, but it doesn't happen here.
Exactly.
To us.
Exactly. So many conversations I've had with Jews in our community that have really said initially, this is still not a problem, even despite the numbers. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. And then all of a sudden, something happens to their friend, or it happens to their child, or it happens to someone in their community, and then all of a sudden, then it becomes a problem. And I think our eyes have to be wide open and not just wait for it to affect us. You have to see that this is really affecting a large swath of people. And every one of those numbers it becomes very academic when you look at numbers. And I think there are personal stories behind each one of those. And I've had conversations with those victims. And it is very, very disconcerting and very painful when someone has the word Jew written on the door of their house, or when their child is, told that they should be gassed, or their locker has a swastika put on it. And I think there's real pain and long-term pain that's taking place here.
And have we seen people essentially have changes in their lives? You talk about pain, have and I don't mean to minimize the notion of pain,
Sure,
but have a real impact on how they live their lives?
Absolutely. I think people that felt they were absolutely integrated and part of their community and felt comfortable and that anti-Semitism was not an issue and that people accepted Jews, and all of a sudden you have a massive swastika painted on your house with the word, Jew on it underneath the swastika, you begin to question, am I really welcome in this community? Am I safe to be here? Do I want to be here? And I think those are questions that people weren't having to ask, in a lot of cases until recently. And that's very troubling.
Take a look back historically. There have been periods where there have been increases in anti-Semitic behavior and anti-Semitic attitudes. Have we seen a pattern of causation during the course of that period of time for those spikes?
Usually when there's been dramatic spikes, it's because of activity in Israel, whether it's Operation Protective Edge or there's some kind of a conflict, or there's typically a rise of anti-Semitic incidents. What's happened really since the election season, there's been kind of a spike in that. The spike is held, and it's held for an extended period of time. And that is something that's a bit of an anomaly for us that's been doing this kind of tracking since 1979. And we're trying to get our arms wrapped around that, because the trend's going to continue. The numbers are up in 2016, and now they're up even further in 2017. Those are trends that are not good trends, and we need to do everything we can to push back on that.
How concerned should we be then that we might tend to become desensitized to these incidents, that they are happening so often that they're not going to get the coverage they used to have, and they become a sense of this sort of perverse normality?
I've seen that. When I first started, there was a swastika incident. It was a press release. It was major coverage. It was a big news story.
Could lead the news.
Lead the news. Now we get so many. If you look at the numbers, anti-Semitic vandalism was one of the highest numbers and one of the largest increases in this audit, that it becomes just another number within the audit, and it becomes another incident taking place in the city. So the elected officials and others don't necessarily respond with the same vim and vigor they did before. And that is concerning, because to me, it's all about the levels that we accept and become normal in our society, right? So if anti-Semitic vandalism becomes normalized, what becomes normalized next? Anti-Semitic assaults? And what after that? You can't live in the building. You can't go to our school. All things that we were able to accomplish. Jews right now are experiencing some of the biggest success in the history of any country at any given time, and we can't take that for granted. And we're certainly living better and more robust and freer lives than we did probably 60, 70 years ago in this country, but we can't take that for granted as a people at all.
Here's the difficult last question for you. The numbers are staggering, they're troubling, they're even frightening. What do we do about it?
To me, it's two fronts. One, it's getting our elected officials to be more engaged. It's really about getting them to understand the change in these numbers, taking these things seriously, ensuring that as the constituents of these electeds, that they are getting them to speak out loudly, create a plan, help fund that plan, really be there for the community and understand that this is an issue and it's not something that can just be swept aside. Number two, it's about education, and it's education of our young people. It's about getting them to understand that bias of any kind, whether it's towards Jews or any other minority, is completely unacceptable. And it's our job to get proactive as a society, not reactive. And it's also to get the administration, whether it's university administration or superintendents or principals in schools, to be trained, formally on how to handle anti-Semitic incidents, hate, white supremacists. These things are happening. The trends are there. Let's get proactive about it instead of reactive. I see so many times these administrators are just reactive, and they're looking for answers after the fact. Let's do something before.
Well, Evan, there are troubling numbers, and hopefully by shining a light on this, we can do something positive in dealing with them. We appreciate your spending some time with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Take care now.
Thank you.